All right, welcome everyone. Sunday morning. Welcome to the Flying Stories. A quick disclaimer: this is about a personal views of some of the experienced pilots, not really an instructional video, so not to be followed without the help of your instructors or the experienced buddies that you may have around. So ensure that you always try some of these things what we discuss here in the controlled environment. So today we really have an interesting story here. Uh, we all love the epic movies, right? So we have an interesting story here of a boy back in the days, just like many of you would have started. Especially, I'm now talking to a lot of tandem guys here. You would have seen some of the pilots from all over the world traveling to your region, and being a kid, completely mesmerized with that flying objects under which a human can fly. So that story begins pretty much the same. From a humble background in the villages of Kamshet, a young boy looking at all the magic of this flying and really get mesmerized and starts his journey. As time goes, he becomes an instructor. He starts training the new pilots. He becomes a very experienced, tandem pilot. Uh, Even goes on starting his school. So the story that I'm going to tell you guys today is going to be the inspiring story for a lot of young minds who are driving the whole, the early days of tandem business, trying to get in. Where do they go from there? And that's the story of an inspiration here. I'll try to cover some of the, what I've said in Hindi, but you'll have to pardon my Hindi there. Now, it is the same person. Not only he establishes himself in the business and in the instruct as a very strong instructor, he goes on inspiring a completely new genre of flying. We have had a series of very experienced cross-country pilots. We had Debu, we had Gurpreet. Some of us, Vistap told us a story how he got so inspired by just looking at the track uh, of some of the earlier pilots. This is a part of inspiration. And the whole scene in this country for the cross country started with some of this early inspiration. Just like that, we have this person starting the inspiration for tandem, for the acro flying. In early days, what you would see him doing of beautiful wingovers and sats, he didn't stop there. He kept pushing the limits. He kept moving to the helicos from there, even to the infinity and tumble. And easily, I can say he is the first Indian pilot to to be able to comfortably do the tumbles and infinities. There are probably few more coming in soon. But the impact of what he has been doing, how he has been laying this path, has already been seen. We had yesterday Clint talking about his journey into Acro. We had Sajid also. We have a bunch of pilots at any given point in time. Now in Kamshet, you will find at least 5 to 6 different freestyle wings trying to hone their skills and taking it to next level. That scene wasn't there, and all that happened due to the dream and the pursuit of excellence by this person. It's my pleasure and to introduce my instructor when I started my flying journey, TJ or Tanaji Tankve. Welcome, TJ.
Long intro, quite big. Thank you very much, Rohit sir, for your kind words, and really thank you for hosting me to share my experience. And I want to thank you for Badri sir to running this tutorial. It's really wonderful. It's a lot of learning for me also. A lot of senior pilots sharing their experience, and yeah, I'm looking more to have more knowledge from more pilots. So yeah, yeah, it's a long journey for me to reach at professional acro pilot. So let's start the discussion on the topic that how to become easy and safe acro pilot. I put it in that line, So I believe everybody wants to do acrobatic, do uh, yeah, people may get hesitate or think that is too much, or it's not for me, or you know people think it's dangerous, and I don't know what they think, but I believe everybody does acrobatic, you know if they want to, or if they don't want to, in normal flying also, once they get airborne, get flying, and when they fly stable, and after some time they just go, they just float around, and they just throw themselves left, right, they start with floating and starts with overs, and that's the journey.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute them. Don't worry.
Yeah, acrobatic is, for me, is always uh, yeah, I you know I read my points rather.
Go ahead.
Instead of I start like this, can I ask questions? I mean, if there are questions, I like to ask questions to.
So, TJ, let me set the stage here. What most of us are looking really here is why even acro? Like, for personally, you have seen my journey. I am more interested into cross country, or we have so many pilots here who are in their first 50 hours. Or I'm a tandem pilot. I'm a professional tandem pilot. I'm happy with what I'm doing. Why should I even bother to learn acro? Let's take one at a time. Let's start with I'm this 50 hours pilot, first 100-hour pilots. I'm just getting into my flying. I'm comfortable now. My dream is to one day go to cloud base and travel in a fancy places and see the world around. Why should I even learn acro?
Yeah,
Hold on. Let me just mute all for a second, TJ. Just give me a second here. Yeah, go ahead, TJ. I've just muted all.
Yeah, I was saying, acro makes you better pilot. Acro gives you best control over your glider, and yeah, it gives you more feeling. When you do acrobatic, you talk to your glider, it's like proper feeling you have, and then yeah, when you do thermaling or a cross country, and then if you have a best control, then you do it with comfortable nature, when you go cross country, and if you have a best control over your wings, then it feels better. So uh, that's why acrobatic is important to learn, to get your good hand over it, and yeah, so when I do a cross country or a thermaling or a XE, I feel it's in under control. My gliders are always with me. It's never to mind. And I remember in my early days, before 2005, I used to go beer billing and fly there, and try to go big face and on that side, and then I used to get scared and get in collapses, and I try to control my wing, and it's like I'm scared and tense and I'm tired, and then yeah, and then I'm just get tired, and I think I should go for landing. Enough. So
are you trying to say that
myself. Now when I go to beer billing, and when I do longer flight, now I'm more peacefully enjoying my flight. Because it's like driving, I believe. Like when you learn driving in beginning, you're like holding your steering very tight, and you're focused so much on driving, and you're not listening your music, or you're not discussing with friends you're driving with. Similar in flying, like when you have uh, best control, and then your subconscious mind is flying, naturally is flying, and your same time you're focusing on nature, same time you can look other pilots flying around you, and same time you can think about I should catch that thermal. That guy is going higher, or I go there. I know it's like your mind is 80% empty to have other thoughts, and then 20% just your mind is just going over the equipment or a flying. Like so that's I believe acrobatic keeps you on that toes. You do a lot of acros, and that acro teach you uh, inch and correction, and like gives you proper feeling, and yeah. So why not acro? That's why and also acro keeps you fit. It's like you're always active doing something, like pulling, and then you play with your glider like very small correction, and like when you do helicos is very very sensitive maneuver, and then you'll go parachutal, and then here it's like you push a little more like inch, and then glider wants to go stall. You release 1 inch, and then glider wants to fly. So it's like very minor correction there. So so that's how you improve your control, and then uh, when you do normal flying in that kind of flight, your body or your subconscious mind is automatically doing it. So
So
yeah.
TJ, I think that was a great answer for someone who's just about to start the cross country journey. I mean, this muscle memory that you will develop as a part of acro will come very handy when wing will be out of the standard flying window, which is above the head. Great point. So let's say we have covered the intermittent pilots with 100 200 hours of experience. Let's take it to a little bit of even early days of flying. I have just finished my P3, P1, P2, whatever you want to call it. I finished. I'm a club pilot, and I'm just about to venture. And my first goal is to even learn thermaling. Right? I haven't even nailed down the thermaling. Now, what would you say? How this acro training could help them?
Yeah, for those, I would recommend, yeah, even I teach my students also when they just, finish their courses, and then they should focus on more active piloting and get their more best control over the glider. And then they can start, flying in little rough conditions and throwing themselves little left and right, and start going with wing overs and small wing overs, and getting themselves comfortable with equipment, and getting more air time, and yeah, that gives them uh, more control, and so, and more trust on equipment, and yeah, and the practice, fly, and each minute is giving them more confidence, and that's how they can uh, progress themselves, they slowly graduate themselves towards moving towards acro.
So even in the early days, having a regular practice with the wing with not just a steady configuration, but a wing overs or mild turns or dynamic exits can keep you really sharpening your fine motor skills and your muscle memory to deal with the condition that you may be dealt with when you are about to learn your thermaling and so on. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, because yeah, you're saying something.
So no, go ahead. You can complete the point.
Yeah, so like sometime like I said, I mentioned active piloting. So active piloting is what the gust comes, and the gust hits the glider goes back, and then glider can do pitch or a roll, and this excess, if you control very well, and we start getting that muscle memory going there, and then automatically you're getting comfortable. If the glider goes on one side, you can swing your body on that side and get that energy and bleed out the energy in that. That's how you can get this. Or in a little advanced level, if you get a collapse on one side, let's say you get a collapse on right side, instead of just reacting on opposite and then stopping that, you can actually go with it,
go in the turn,
open your collapse and bleed out the energy with that swing. So so yeah, so I think, of course, again, for this level, I can tell my friends, of course, the ground handling and kiting on the ground helps a lot. That really helps a lot, because I believe whatever happens on ground with the glider, and same thing can happen in the air. So if you have a best control on ground, you have a best control in the air. So yeah, it's very simple logic. So at this stage, I can see people, like to jump, and they just do schools, and they just want to go by glider, and they just, try to fly, or they just try to catch with seniors, and there they miss up, and a lot of people, a lot of friends, they don't practice ground handling, and that's the problem, So I believe we should practice a lot on ground, even acrobatic also, for a quite senior acro pilots also, for them also. I have seen in Oludenis or different acro flying sites, I've seen world champions, they get their glider on the ground, and they play with the glider on ground also a lot of time, and it's
Control
really fun, and it's fun, once you start getting control, and once you start understanding power of the glider and power of the wind, and you can play with that both, and then it's like fun, So same thing I like to request, and to tell my friends, uh, uh, have a mind set up, like 80% I should do ground handling, kiting, and 20% of flying. That attitude, if they have, they will definitely will be safer. Yes, 100% they will be safe.
So, TJ, we will shift gears a bit here. We have a large number of tandem pilots also here who do it professionally, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen you being a very strong proponent of training hard in tandem, doing the SIVs or even acros. Can you elaborate your thoughts on how the tandem pilots can improve their skills, keep it safe for their customers? We had a couple of sessions on tandem flying, but can you explain the acro in a tandem context here?
Yeah, sure. For acro pilots, definitely they should practice on solo before going on the tandem, and they should really master those maneuvers on solo before doing on tandem, because tandem is a bigger, larger glider, and it's too much pressure on the glider, and also you have somebody with you, somebody's responsibility, on your shoulders, and yeah, you cannot risk with him, So definitely we should master your whatever your acro maneuvers, like I would say basic or advanced, and you should master them on solo, and yeah, you should be 100% sure that you're very much comfortable, and then you should practice on your tandem. Like yesterday, Ajay Bhai was mentioning that if people doing acrobatic on tandem, sometimes we get carried away with the equipment, like we don't see our equipment is old or new, and uh, we fly every day, and we don't inspect our equipment very oftenly, and that's the problem again, again, Ajay Bhai was saying bridles, there are I have noticed also, there are a lot of senior pilots, a lot of experience. They've flown thousands of flights, and sometimes they get carried away with old equipment, like their harnesses really old, the carabiners are really outdated, and sometimes I've seen no rescues, so yeah, this shouldn't happen, they shouldn't compromise with this equipment, because it's a commercial business. I believe people should not compromise, with safety.
Yeah, absolutely. The results are also must. So TJ, can you give me a bit overview? I think you are one of. Yeah, go ahead.
Before I like to. There is a MLA sir from Bilaspur. He is there in screen. I like to welcome sir. Welcome on the screen, and yeah, thank you for joining us.
So TJ, the question that I have is, you are one of the pilots that I know, and your team, the entire tandem team, is extremely well trained on the SIV maneuvers, on the stalls, on the asymmetrics. I personally also fly a non-commercial hobby tandem, but I haven't done SIV. I've done a lot of SIVs as a solo pilot. So can you explain for the larger audience here, what's the key differences you would see when you try some of the standard SIV maneuvers in tandem and in solo?
Before doing a tandem, of course, SIV is must on the solo, and I believe it's not really necessary to do SIV on tandem because it's a lot of pressure. The big canopy, it's a lot of tension on the brakes, and it's really hard to stall your glider, or holding stall also it's quite hard. So, and again, of course, it's changing situation depend on how much load you are taking in flight. So that is also matters. Uh, Basic maneuvers, of course, definitely we can practice, like asymmetric collapses or a frontal or a like a beeline, or anyway, beeline is outdated maneuver nowadays. Nobody likes to do it, but except stall and spins, uh, we can practice on tandem definitely.
Thanks. So the team here, we are going to start digging a bit deeper into some of the maneuvers here. But before we do that, the first part of the talk today, I wanted to cover what Acro really means in each segment. We talked about what it means for some of the early pilots. We talked about what it means to the intermittent pilots. Of course, the comp guys and some of the experienced cross-country guys are very well aware why they should train on Acro as well. Some of them are training very hard. We have seen Clint and some of the guys talking about it. So while I ask the next question, we're going to take a short break after this, and I'm going to open up for questions around this area first. Why Acro? Then we can talk a little bit more about certain maneuvers, and we can talk to TJ about the nuances of some of the maneuvers. A simple maneuver of, let's say, wing over, what things can go wrong there, or a sat, or a spiral. We'll cover some of them. But before that, let's get the basics. Why even Acro? I mean, I talked to a lot of pilots, and they're very happy flying. And they say, I don't need to train. I don't need to train on extreme maneuvers. I'm scared. I don't enjoy them. Agreed. But for each pilot, there is certain level of comfort and muscle memory, as TJ has been suggesting us, or a pilot who, in his early days, trying to learn thermaling, he needs to be very comfortable with different, movements of his wing, being able to comfortably see his wing diving on his right, on his left, in front. He should be comfortable with wing being not on his head and not panic. So we covered that a bit. So at this point, if you have any further questions, we can take up on this, and then we can dive a bit in the details of some of these maneuvers. All right. Feel free, type your questions in the chat box. That way I can open up your mic accordingly. All right, TJ, till we have the questions coming in. Yeah, there's a question from Badri. Just give me a second.
Yeah, TJ, hi.
Hi, sir.
Thanks to both of you for coming and taking this session. I have one question. Say, almost 90% of our pilots in India are either XC or tandem pilots. Very few are acro pilots. So I want you to more focus on, according to me, anything which is not a normal flight, when the wing is not straight on our head and gliding in a normal, very simple, safe way, it is like you will have to handle it, which is nothing but almost close to an entry point to the acro. Yeah. So many of us, first time when we went there, is why we speak about so first time when we encounter that first thermal, which is of like 4 or 5, and that's it. We don't fly for the next 3 days. I mean, everybody agrees with this, So when we enter such kind of a thermal, we believe that I used to believe there is something is wrong happening only to me. I mean, it takes a long number of visits and a number of months to understand this is happening to everybody. We think there is something wrong with my flying style, so I go home, to the landing. So it is rare for me to fly the same day or the next day. It is somebody like many mentors for me, Rohit, Bij, and Alok. So when I speak to them, then I understand, okay, I should go and try again. Can you deal with this part of the fear, that encountering that first strong thermals and surviving them, so that people don't get scared and leave the sport? Thank you so much. Sorry for the long question.
Yeah, it's a interesting question, of course. Like you do strong thermaling, of course, it's a lot of work in that. Glider is moving all over and it's pitching and rolling and all that, and then we get thrown and left and right, and we feel this is only happening to me, but it's not the true. I think it's happening to everybody. Yesterday there was a good example given by Ajay Bhai again, when he was saying that when you go on the bad road, and then how you drive, or when you go in the turbulent air, then your focus should be that way. So my experience is, in this kind of situation, don't focus on too much overcorrecting. Go with it, go with the pull or a push, and just stay more relaxed and easy, and just go with it. I think there is that's what I think you should do.
All right, the next question is from Altaf. Altaf, I have unmuted you. Can you go ahead with your question?
Hey, TJ sir, good morning. Thank you for this wonderful session. So I have a basic question is, which are those basic acro moves which any pilot should know for a better pilot? Even if there is no aspiration to become a acro pilot itself, even for any type of pilot, what are those basic acro moves which one should know or master?
Yeah, a very nice question. Acro is always fun, right? So, Rohit sir, I'm getting echo. Can you mute him? Yeah. So perfect. So acro is always fun, and the basic you can start with, throwing yourself left and right. Get reversals type, like wing overs. Wing over is like when you go really over the wing, when you go really deep, and then it's like big wing overs. But yeah, you start rolling your glider like reversals at 180 degree. It's like good to know your control on the glider, and understanding behavior of your wing. It's coming with you or not. Sometimes when we start doing wing overs, sometimes glider wants to go left and you're throwing on your right, so you're not one with your glider. So start to get one with your glider, like glider wants to go right, and then you're giving extra push and then going in that swing. Then glider wants to go left, and then you're going with the glider and then giving extra push. So that's how go with the wing overs. So yeah, basic maneuvers, acro maneuvers is like you can go wing overs definitely. Then you can teach yourself tight 360s. You can have a task that I will do only 2, and then you do slow or fast, and then you feel yourself, this is too much for me, or this is okay. Then you can slowly you can increase them, and you can increase pulling more inside brake, and you can go a little more stiffer, and that's how you can train. So that is spiral. You can go to spiral, of course. Yeah, I would recommend before going spiral, you should fly more and have more 360 practice, and you can play with tight 360s. You're increasing and reducing, and if you feel like heavy, then you should come out. So yeah,
thanks, CJ.
Kind of maneuvers.
Before we go to the next question, I'd like to take a moment to thank Subhash ji. Subhash ji, आपका स्वागत है. आपको मैं unmute कर रहा हूँ अभी. आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे ये larger forum को? We have about 73 pilots from all over India speaking and learning and sharing their knowledge, improving themselves and improving the safety of the sport.
मैं आप सबका बिलासपुर की तरफ से, हिमाचल प्रदेश सरकार की तरफ से पहले तो धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा कि आपने ये वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस के माध्यम से एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स और पैराग्लाइडिंग्स के लिए सबके साथ आप जुड़े हैं। ये बहुत बड़ा आप इस स्पोर्ट्स के लिए और आगे आने वाले दिनों में इवेंट के लिए जो कर रहे हैं, इसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत आपको बधाई भी देता हूँ और आपका धन्यवाद भी करता हूँ। और मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि हिमाचल प्रदेश सरकार हमेशा एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स और नेचुरल उसमें हमेशा टूरिज्म को डेवलप करने के लिए हिमाचल प्रदेश अग्रणी भूमिका निभाती रही है। यह विश्वव्यापी जो महामारी है, इससे निपटने के लिए आप सभी लोगों का सहयोग, भारत सरकार भी, हिमाचल प्रदेश की सरकार भी, और जैसा हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है कि जान है तो जहान है। आने वाले दिनों में हम सभी यही उम्मीद और भगवान से यही प्रार्थना करते हैं कि हमारा भारत देश, हिमाचल प्रदेश और ये मानवता के लिए और राष्ट्र के लिए हम सबका सहयोग अति आवश्यक है। इस घड़ी में हम सभी इसमें सहयोग करें, अपने आप को भी बचाएं, परिवार को भी बचाएं, यही मैं इसमें संदेश देना चाहूंगा। और आने वाले दिनों में आपको विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि पैराग्लाइडिंग और एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स में हिमाचल प्रदेश दोबारा से उसी मुकाम पर, और आप सबको बहुत बहुत इसके लिए मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं और हमेशा आपका सहयोग आपको मिलता रहेगा, यही मैं आज आपसे कहना चाहता हूं। आपने मुझे भी अपने साथ जोड़ा है, मैं भी हमेशा आपके साथ खड़ा रहने के लिए तत्पर हूं। इसके लिए आज मैं आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। आगे भी हमारा सहयोग आपके साथ रहेगा। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सुभाष। मैं सभी पायलटों की तरफ से हिमाचल प्रदेश गवर्नमेंट को स्पेशली बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। सभी राज्यों में हिमाचल प्रदेश से जो हमें हमेशा सपोर्ट मिला है पैराग्लाइडिंग के लिए, बीड़ में फ्लाइंग करते वक्त, बिलासपुर में फ्लाइंग करते वक्त, और ओवरऑल जो स्टेट का अप्रोच रहा है एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट की तरफ, ऐसा नहीं कि ये सब क्यों हो रहा है, क्यों कर रहे हो, उसको सबको बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं, सबको सपोर्ट है आपका गवर्नमेंट का। तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, और बहुत शुक्रिया आपका यहाँ आने के लिए और हमें आपके विचार शेयर करने के लिए। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद। बिलासपुर और हिमाचल की तरफ से भी आपका धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद। अगला सवाल है अरविंद अरुण से। अरविंद, मैंने आपको अनम्यूट किया है। अरविंद, कैन यू आस्क योर क्वेश्चन प्लीज? In case he can't unmute himself, I have allowed everyone to unmute, so you can do that. But I can read the question here. How many hours of flying do you need before you start training yourself on Acro? TJ.
I believe there is no limit. Of course, in my opinion, there is no limit. But of course, for our all acrobatic, there is step by step. You know, you can go step by step. Of course, after schooling, you cannot practice for infinity tumbling for sure. So, whatever glider or whatever equipment you have on that, you can start going. You know, wing overs, start with that maneuver, and then, like I said, again 360s, and then you can move. You know, yeah. At this stage, like your stage, I would recommend, you know, fly R times, you know, air time, get more air time. That will give you more experience, and then that will definitely lead you, or that will tell you that, oh yeah, I'm now comfortable, you know, I can myself, I can go a little extra, I can push my boundaries, you know. You get this feeling automatically, and then yes, of course, at your level you can start doing those maneuvers. And yeah, I think you're my student, I know your level. So yeah, you have done 10 days course, and after that you just fly. I think you have gathered 10-15 hours flying experience. Yeah, at this stage, I believe you should fly more air time, fly more rough conditions a little bit, you know. Initially we fly in smoother conditions, and then we should slowly shift towards little, you know, afternoon, noon time conditions. Then you'll get some, you know, acrobatic by itself, you know, without you doing, the glider will do it. And that time when you do control, that is the best control you have, So,
Great.
yeah.
Thanks, CJ. The next question is from Alan. Alan, can you unmute yourself and ask the question? It's a lovely question, actually.
Where is he? I don't see him.
Okay, I can read the question. Do acro courses have any age restriction in India and abroad? I can expand the question further. What sort of physical fitness one would need to be able to start training acros, and what different maneuvers you have to keep in mind with your age, with your fitness?
Yes, first answer is there is no, of course, there is no restriction on the age. You will you'll feel restriction on your limit, your body limit, because like I say, like I feel there are few maneuvers already gone much further beyond my limit. Also, sometimes I feel now I'm 40, and sometimes I feel like Diblik, he flies 14 square meter glider and he does all crazy maneuvers. And sometimes I feel challenging myself. So I think you'll know your limit when you start doing acrobatic from beginning. From, of course, there are stage, step by step. If you go, then you will feel yourself. This is sometimes you feel it's too much for me. Then yeah, I think then you're extending too much. You should come back and then practice. Basic maneuvers maybe, and then yeah, like that.
Sure. So just a moment, TJ, I'm going to mute all again, and I have allowed everyone to unmute themselves. So you can all unmute yourself just to avoid the background noise here. Okay. The next question is from Shrikant. Shrikant, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hi, TJ sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. My question is, while doing the acro maneuvers like spiral and rotation and all, the G-force is intimidating for new pilots like me. How to progress, the G-force, like, slowly taking it? Is there a way? Because we don't get to do that in Kamshet or Beer, because it's the first time we are seeing the wing in front of us and all. So how do we progress in conquering this G-force?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. I hear a lot of things, for a spiral that people say the glider gets locked in spiral. I don't believe in that. I believe the brain gets locked. The glider brain, in the sense when you do in spiral, your head becomes heavy, and then you just get blackout, and then you just stay as it is, and then glider just leading you into rotation, and you don't know what to do. So how to come over it? It's I think again it's easy. You should have a goal, or you should have a task yourself set, that I will start with 360s. I will start with 360s, and I will do only 2 or 3 360s, and you can time it yourself. You have a target front of you, and then you start your 360 with control and control mind, and it's and then you do 1, 2, and 3. You can time and check your time, and then you feel, this is under control. Okay, next time let's do it a little faster. So that's how you can increase you can train your brain. Actually, this is training for brain. So for me, sometimes when I don't fly for 4 months, 5 months, like monsoon, and when I go after monsoon, I fly, and then I do something like sat also, and I pull sat, and sometimes I feel really heavy. So of course it's brain, so your brain needs this training. Once you get this memory in subconscious mind, and then it becomes easy. So again, coming back to point that you can practice this way: three turns faster, or a slow, or then you feel more comfortable, you can increase your rotation modes. You can go 4 or 5, and then you can watch your tip when you do your spiral or a tight 360, and then it's like touching horizon, and then touching, and then facing your horizon, and then it's like nose down. It's facing ground and going crazy. So we practiced in all of these, right? So Yeah, you can keep going. There is no problem doing in beer or Kamshet. There is no problem unless you go really crazy and pull really strong, and and then you don't know what to do. So even I have felt it when it happened to me also when I was practicing under instruction in Nepal in Pokhara under Matthew training, and yeah, when you have an instructor guiding you, and then you get more excited, and then you feel okay, let's go crazy, and then I think that is wrong, and uh, you should not cross your limit. You feel this is going heavy, you should just come out. You just stop the rotation, and then you can try again. So that's how I think you should practice.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. The next question, actually, I have seen Manoj Shetty raising his hand. Manoj, can you unmute yourself and ask the question, please?
Thank you. Hi, TS sir. This is Manoj out here. So
Hi,
my
Manoj.
question to you is, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So my question is for a pilot who's been regularly doing his SIV, and I understand that when you talk about Acro, it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of wing control and all. So for a pilot who regularly does his SIV, and in his arsenal, he has maybe a wing over, he has a spiral, and a good airtime. So with respect to safety, when I look at it, do you still recommend a pilot to get into acro bit of it? Because I understand when I look at acro, so you need to. This is the second part of the question. So when I look at acro, I feel that it demands a lot of time in terms of a lot of investment, both in terms of time and money. So this is my question to you, TS.
Yeah, it's a really important questions you have asked. My answer is on this. It's not mean that you do infinity tumbling means you're an acro pilot. I don't believe. You do good wing overs, good spiral, good sat, you're a good acro. And like talking about the paragliding itself is expensive, I believe. But for acro or to do acro, you need a high professional acro wing, professional acro gear. You can practice a lot, or you can do a lot of acro maneuvers on your ENA or ENB glider. So ENB glider is capable to do all kind of acro maneuvers except tumbling and infinity tumbling. Like good wing overs, good sat, good spiral, good misties, good helicos is beautiful to practice on ENB gliders, because these gliders are much slower and more forgivable, and you can actually understand much easier actually, and you don't lose so much altitude, and the glider will not give you sudden shock. So yes, in equipment, harnesses make a little difference, but glider, I believe, no. You can do 90% acrobatic on your ENB glider for sure.
Just to ask you further, can I ask?
Yeah, please go ahead, Manoj.
Clarifications. So basically, so today, if I start the journey of acro, for example, what is the frequency in which you need to train? Because I assume some of the advanced maneuvers you basically have to try it in maybe under the sea, under the water, and all that. So, what would be your suggestion in terms of the progression level for a pilot?
Yes. The first thing is you should practice always at high altitude. That's for sure. This is never. I mean, we shouldn't cross this limit. We should have really extra high height and high altitude practice. Second thing is, let's talk about wingover. If you really master wingover,
can I interrupt? Can you help for the larger audience when you say the margin? How much? At what height, if I'm practicing something on the ground, at what height I should come back to the regular flight? What's it at altitude above the ground level?
Yeah, if you ask me, when I practice my home ground in Tower Hill, uh, you know Tower Hill altitude, right? It's the takeoff is I think at 800 meter,
Yeah.
correct? And yeah, so I don't practice below 1000 meters.
Right.
So I always practice or I come out of the maneuver before 1000 meters. So I keep that safety margin altitude for me. So I always catch something like 13, 1400 meters and I practice there and I can play at that altitude. So that is one. Yeah.
And that also means this is a well-practiced maneuver already over the water. You are proficient in that, right? You don't start to learn it on tower, a new maneuver. What would be your recommendation here?
Yeah, the site is again its limitation. So you need to think what site you're flying at, and then what kind of conditions are available there. Like Tower is dynamic conditions and a lot of strong winds coming. So I do only helicos, good looping wingers, sometimes sat or this kind of maneuvers only I do. But I recommend again. Tower Hill is you can do good wingers. You can learn very good wingers at Tower Hill. Also, you can teach yourself getting into spiral. I mean, train yourself coming to reaching to spiral, and then these two maneuvers you can really master. And these two maneuvers are, I believe, very important in acrobatic. If you have a best wingers going, you have a best control on your glider. So if you have any shit moment on your situation, any bad situation, I mean in any situation, you go and glider has collapsed and gone below you, and you need to control. You'll in good position that you will understand how to recover from that situation. So I think winger is the maneuver that you should practice a lot.
Does that answer your question, Manoj?
I think, the second bit of still unanswered, sir. I was talking about the progression bit of it. How about a pilot who's just entering into learning acro? How should he go about in terms of go about doing it, and how much practice he would require, maybe under the water and all that stuff? So, for someone who's getting in, what should be the path forward?
I really didn't get your voice properly coming to me.
Yeah, there's some challenge with Manoj's voice, so let's take it a bit offline. We have really a lot of questions. So Manoj, apologies. I would like to
no
give
problem. Thanks a lot.
I think Manoj, I'll just try to answer you in short. See, there is no limit on practice. Okay, that is one. Practice as much you want is best. Master your basic maneuvers very well. Whatever basic maneuvers you are practicing, you've been practicing, you should master them. You should be doing very at comfortable level, and yeah, if you go little higher maneuvers, then of course you should practice over the box in the sense over the water with safety board for sure, with any supervision. That will be nice.
Thanks, TJ. Hey, KK, if you can hear me, go ahead with your question. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi TJ, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, TJ, my question is, it's a very basic for us all progression pilots. See, when we are taking up multiple SIV courses, right, for glider control to become better pilots at that, and we all agree that, acro pilots have better control over their wings. Now, what I would like to understand is, what is the defining line between SIV? What is the difference between the controls we learn in SIV and moving over to acro flying? What makes us better at that? So what is that difference?
Yeah, I get your question. So see, acro, there are some maneuvers and it's like lined up, tuck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like winger, spiral, sat, asymmetric sat, dynamic sat. Then there are tumbling, then looping, and there are like maneuvers already people have lined up and people have done it, and there are people they can teach, or there are some theory they can follow, and it's easy to follow this route. Difference between SIV and this, the SIV gets you control. Okay, SIV gets you confidence, because when you really do stall and come in the back fly and control your glider there, and then you know that my glider is sensitive, and then you know that when to release my hands, and when I release my hands and what glider will do, how much it will dive. It dives, and then you can control that moment. Sometimes your glider dives in one side, and then again you're like checking on that side. So uh, SIV gives you a boost to lead towards acro. Okay, if you don't have a good hand over your glider, it's no point running towards acro. So for me, if you ask for my personal experience, I did my first SIV in 2005, and after that my flying changed in different manners. It took me to different level, and then it like addiction that I was waiting for February, when February will come, and then I will go to Pokhara and do my SIV again, and so why? Because it's not acro that time. I started my acro in 2009, but SIV I used to do, and then SIV used to give me confidence and good control, and then I used to feel, wow, it's no problem, man. Glider collapsing, and I'm not bothered. I used to tell, collapse, man, no problem. If sometime you go in a rough thermal, house thermal sometime, and your glider is collapsing that time, that area. Sometime you try to avoid that area, right? And then I used to go there, and I used to tell my glider, collapse, man, scare me, no problem. Like I used to talk to my glider. So the line is here is you get confident, you feel nice, powered. So, and then once you have a good hand over it, then you feel moving towards acrobatic, because the acro we feel is like challenging. Something, people that are doing it is like, wow, it's like helicos. So I used to have some goals like, I want to learn SAT. It's cool. In 2009 I've seen SAT, and the glider goes like that. And then wow, it's like so much force and it's enjoyable. And then I want to do that. Why not? So SIV is really must to get you there as a safer.
So what I would understand is that to get into the Acro League, to begin with it, we would first need to be very confident and very sure about all our SIV maneuvers. We need to be very much in control of a glider at all SIV maneuvers that we learn. Yeah. So that would be the progression step into Acro.
Yeah, I believe it's not only for acro. I believe if you go for a cross country or a thermaling also,
Yes,
that can scare you. So again, I will say acrobatic is infinity is not only acrobatic. There are a lot of other maneuvers you can practice, and you can have thrill and adrenaline pump, and you feel. See, in my hometown, home site, I don't do infinity. I do infinity very, very sometime in 1 year. Like when I travel to Bilaspur or Oludanis, and there only I do, because. And then other maneuvers are there to keep me high. I go in there, I push up, throw myself like left, right, and do 2-3 turns that or some dynamic turns. I feel wow, super. So to get this also, SIV or this controls are must. Like let's say like you're thermaling also in beer billing, and you get 50% collapse, and then glider is not recovering. Sometimes, most of the time, the glider recovers by itself. But of course, sometimes the glider gets collapsed and it's not opening. And then 50% collapse can lead you into SAT, if we get a delay on that. And then it's SAT. And then a lot of G-force on body, and then don't know what to do. So, but yes, in this situation, you know how to recover. You throw your body opposite, give some break, stop the rotation, and follow straight line, then glider will definitely recover. So it tells you to not overreact. So practice.
Thank you.
Thanks, TJ. Guys, we're going to change the gear. We have so many guys asking the question, you won't believe it. Poor Amit Negi has been raising his hand for last half an hour, but I'm going to request him to keep raising that for a while. Let's hear a bit more from TJ, because this is a very important aspect. We have been asking him a lot of questions on acro, uh, on progressing, maneuvers, a sat, tumbling, infinity. But there's a big side of TJ that we all need to know, and every acro pilot needs to know, is his discipline. Is his discipline, his self-control, and his steady progression. Um, Acro is in a way, I won't say that we of course do it for our love, but it's also a bit show. There is a lot of satisfaction we get when we get that perfect maneuver right. A lot of rush to it. But in pursuing that rush, we shouldn't leave the sight of a safety or a slow progression, a progression that will allow you to keep ingraining all those learnings in you as you progress and not just rush into it. So, TJ, can you tell us a story which is probably one of the most interesting maneuver, I would say, and I have personally seen your journey. Few years it took you to learn the tumbling and infinity now, and there have been a lot of moments of frustration for you, where you have to speed up, speed back, dial up, dial down. You have to ensure that you don't step to a boundary for which you will find yourself too deep into. So can you tell us a bit story about your journey and advice to the larger community, some of who are getting a lot proficient in acro, how to keep the balance of pushing the envelope as well as keeping it safe. But before you do that, TJ, hold on. I'm going to again mute everyone and I'll unmute you. Okay.
Big journey.
Go ahead, TJ.
I've been flying since.
Go, TJ. Can you start? I have unmuted you now, please.
Yeah, like I said, it's been long journey for me. For paragliding, it's been almost 20 years now. Yes, like I said, I did my first SIV in 2005, and I traveled to Pokhara, and I really get to see live acro going or SIVs going. Not really acro, but yeah, gliders are stalling and spiraling and all that, and big wingers. And yeah, it was a big learning that time. So we were like 6 or 7 guys in our first SIV. Of course, my guru was with me anyway that time, and I was a young and flying in that case. So I always wanted to fly first. Then I can, after landing, I can watch others how they're doing it. So ऐसा मेरे लिए हमेशा ऐसा ही रहा, हमेशा जहाँ भी मैं गया कुछ सीखने के लिए, अभी भी मैं जाता हूँ, अभी भी I like to learn a lot, and I be a student, proper student. I forget, I switch off my instructor, and I just go and learn. So yeah, so मेरे लिए यही है discipline. I don't compromise with my equipment. That is the first step. मेरा ग्लाइडर 3 साल 4 साल पुराना भी होके भी वो ब्रांड न्यू जैसा दिखता है. So yeah, I take care of my equipment a lot. मॉनसून में मेरे बेडरूम में मेरे बेड पे मेरा ग्लाइडर होता है, नीचे मैं सोता हूँ. So you can imagine that. So yeah, that's one. Yeah, I don't do it for show off. I do it for my fun and enjoy. So again, I'm switching to your question. Journey, yes, I started acro in 2009. Each maneuver was quite challenging for me. When I started learning, that time there was not much, no many instructors in our country, to teach you acrobatic, and also sites also. That is a problem, there are no flying sites. And again, my time, there was no so much awareness about SIVs, no importance about SIV also. So we are like flying left, right, and little wingers and little tight 360s, and that's our flying till 2008 for me. And of course, beer billing, it's more thrilling. It's like more challenging for us, because glider is collapsing all the time and keeping that glider open, and it's like, wow, stressful. But of course, I was very young that time, so 4 hours flying, I was flying in sitting chair, sitting harness we used to do. That time, reaching a big face and coming back was a big challenge. I remember those days. Of course, without SIV, flying ENC. I used to fly Jin Zoom, really flat aspect ratio, long lines, and yeah, crazy glider, So my first SIV, I did it on that glider, and then after that, my life changed. Then it becomes easy, slow, and in control. So yeah, and then I start Acro in 2009, looking at Matthew Abrad. He was my guru. He was my mentor in that time, teaching me Acro. And I did my first SIV in Pokhara, and then after that, I never stopped. Like I said, every February, 15 days going to Pokhara, train myself, and coming back to home site, and then thinking, can I do stalling tower now? And it's like I'm shivering now. I'm like way high, really high, and of course there is no water below me, and I had my cousin, Parshu, working in same team. So I used to tell Parshu that, Parshu, please watch me. If something really go crazy, tell me to throw rescue, because that he can say, and that I can hear and I can throw myself. So yeah, it was very challenging, and I'm ready, and my hands are shivering. I'm going for a stall. I'm like, and then yeah, practice, So once you do once, and then you get confident. Yeah, it's recovering and very well, and that's how I used to practice. Same thing. I go again in Pokhara, learn stat, and coming back and do stat here. That's how I used to do. I learn, and I used to have one target only, one task only, that this trip I will learn only sat. This trip I will only learn helico. This trip I will focus on only tumbling. This trip only infinity. So that gives me that, that I used to, because you focus on 10 things, and then when you come back home, you cannot practice anything because you are not mastered anything. So that's what I learned. And then, yeah, I used to practice, so that was my journey. And each maneuver, like I said, of course, it was like learning helicos. Helicos gave me really hard time. I never used to get good helicos, it's always complicated. So again, journey for reaching to infinity. Of course, I started with ENC. My first glider I had ENC, that is Zoom, and then I got Rebel, Jin Rebel. I was a Jin lover that time, so I used to fly only Jin. Then I got, I think, Jin Boomerang 3. So anyway, coming back to Acro practice, I used to practice on the Rebel, Jin Rebel, and that glider taught me a lot. And then I used to, of course, ask my mentor, my Guruji, Matthew, and I used to ask him what glider I should go for now, next. And then he used to guide me, of course. And then I got easy freestyle, 22 square meter, and I used to practice on that. And then after that, I got again freestyler, but little advanced freestyler, one size smaller. And I practiced on that couple of years. Then I moved to professional acro wing, that is Imli piece, right size. Actually I bought one size smaller, and then Matthew, I tells my guru, I says, Guru, I got a Imli piece, 17 square meter for myself. He writes me and he says, TJ, I love you. I don't want to lose you. So you're not going to fly 17. You are flying 18 square meters. And then the glider was at Uday's place in Mumbai. I was so curious to see my glider. I wanted to see my baby coming. But the Matthew says, and okay, I tells Uday, please send this glider back. So this how I learned taking feedback from instructors and taking very seriously, and then following them, and then learning. Of course, I did 5-time SIV under blue sky in Pokhara. Each year I used to go and practice 15 days, and paying money, and yeah, it used to be a big thing that time. And of course, like number of gliders also, many gliders moving really to till infinity. Yeah, a lot practice. I mean, you have seen it. A lot of friends have seen it practicing me.
TJ, I'll take a quick pause here.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, this is a guy with 20 plus years experience in the field. He has been practicing Acro already for a few years. In spite of that, I would just like to bring to everyone's attention the kind of humbleness and working with his instructors, following this journey slowly but progressively. That's really the focus that I wanted to bring everyone's attention. So TJ, the last point I want to really bring, and I think a lot of guys have an excitement, as I said in my opening, you are the first Infinity pilot in the country. And can you tell me a bit more about your struggle days? I've seen them, so I'd like to put you a little bit in a difficult spot here. Everything's not going to be easy for you here. Tell us a bit more about your internal struggle, because all of us deal with that struggle, with my family, with my career, with my, of course, the self-preservation, and also the drive to get better at something, push the boundaries. Tell us a bit more about the psychological struggle that you would have in your mind.
I think it will be boring, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, for me, it's the Acro is like that. You learn SAT, then you want helico. You learn helico, then you want twister. Helico to helico. Helico on right, helico on left. Then you learn that, then you want something different. Then again in equipment also, you fly your freestyle, and then you fly freestyle. You after some time you feel you're flying 100% now. This glider is now slow, so then you like to change. Then and then this keeps me motivated always, like moving, and then of course, like Acro, infinity means like wow, it's something crazy. So in infinity, again, doing acrobatic, you are playing with your life. That's what I used to feel, because you're going Saat Samandar Par, Turkey mein, kidhar, like so far in mountains. You're away from family, of course, you're away from everybody. But then I always have buddies like you, taking care of me, and that was like big boost. Like Uday was always there for me sometime, and of course all my family, flying family, like Sajid sir and everybody, my senior gang. And आप लोगों के वजह से तो मैं push कर सकता था, push करता था definitely. And of course, practice. Infinity के time I really struggled. Before Infinity, it was easy. It's okay. I was a slow learner. I took too much time. Of course, nowadays the younger boys are catching up very much faster. And why not? Because now beautiful equipment, and now there are lineups. There are good sites to practice, and there are good instructors nowadays. So for me, I struggled in Infinity. 3 years it took. So 3 years in the sense, I used to practice only once in air, of course, in Uludeniz in Turkey, at high altitude, of course. I never risked myself in practicing in low altitude. So I'm in particular in very strict, in particular taking safety. So I didn't compromise. I don't want to compromise, in that. So I'm very strict in that. So Infinity, like Clint mentioned yesterday, he was used to watch videos like 100 times. For me also, thanks to the Blick, he came with this anti-rhythmic Infinity, like going SAT and then cutting to Infinity and then stay in that position, and then glider automatic look goes to anti-rhythmic and you come out. So that was really very nice. To have a confidence if you really go in Infinity, because the fear is, for me, the fear was to stop, to recover, you're in Infinity and glider just goes stuck, like going in rotation, and then you don't know how to stop, it's very, very short time, very little time to explain is very easy. When you are in situation there with G-force, you don't know anything. Trust me.
So why not? So TJ, I'll take a moment, and I plan to embarrass you a bit here. Apologies in advance. I'll put Sajid on stage because I believe he was a close witness and your roommate during that tough days. And maybe Sajid can tell us a bit more about that story. Sajid, go ahead.
And I don't want to embarrass him, but
I was just
no,
kidding, of course.
there's
But
no
just
embarrassment.
to
But
show.
yeah, I was there. We were sharing a room, and I was doing my. I had Aquila, and I was trying to do my stuff on Aquila, and it was very difficult for me. But I was seeing TJ try to crack Infinity, and and he used to come fly with us, and the kind of dedication that I've seen from him, the kind of frustration that I've seen from him, and the kind of knowledge that he was seeking when he was actually teaching us, but was also acting like a student, gave me a lot of boost, gave me a lot of respect for this person, because he would guide us. He would first go do his tumbling and land, and then take the radio and start guiding us. And I would see that every time his entry into Infinity Tumble was through rhythmic sack, and he would go almost vertical, but maybe 10 degrees off. And this requires a lot of pressure in his arm, and he started developing pain in his right arm. And every day after landing, we would massage his arm and he would put medicine and stuff, but he would not go for the second flight. He would rest. He would think. He would go and talk to his friends. He would come back. I could see frustration on his face. I could see anger on his face, and I could see a lot of eagerness to go and fly. But he used to control himself. He said, "नहीं, अभी मेरे को pain हो रहा है. अभी मैं रुकूंगा. लेकिन क्या गलत हो रहा है?" Then he would debrief us. Then he would go and talk to his gurus over there, the Acro gurus over there. Sit down with them, act like a proper student. No ego at all. He would say, "नहीं, मेरे को नहीं आ रहा है." The kind of questions we would ask him, he would go and ask somebody else. And then this is the quality that you need in acro flying. You need to be really humble. You need, like he said, he doesn't fly to show off. He flies because he likes it. And that's the whole thing about acro, that once you get into acro, once you get into sat, you want to do helico. Once you do helico, you want to do the twister. It keeps on going. And it is not for show off. It is just very adrenaline, a lot of adrenaline rush. So I really respect TJ, and people who want to get into acro. I really think before they get the glider, or before they think about getting any maneuvers under their belt, I think the first thing they need to do is have a chat with TJ and first get his attitude, and that will keep them safe. TJ sir, well done. And I then saw when he finally cracked his Infinity and the way he jumped. The whole thing was only about pushing the glider from that 10 degrees and just pushing it like this, and then he went into Infinity Tumble and he cracked it. So well done, and I think his attitude is just amazing for acro. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Great
Thanks
narrative,
to friends, thanks to friends, they really motivated me and kept me going. Definitely, there is a lot of friend support, and like you said, like 10 degrees, I could go to 10 degree like there, and then I used to stop myself because I was afraid when I enter in Infinity, then I don't know what will happen. I was afraid of that fear. And there are a lot of videos, or a lot of pilots says that you pull it on wrong timing, and then you can fall on the glider, and you're like bye bye. So I didn't want to say bye bye to everybody. So that was my fear. But yes, of course I practiced this for 1,000 times. I've seen videos for 1,000 times. Like whole night I used to sometimes watch that one video, 5 minutes video, and like playing again and again and again, and stopping, pausing, and all that. So that really helps. You're storing subconscious memory there, and like you're doing memory, you're visualizing, and that definitely helps to become a safer. Of course safer, I would say strongly, because वो तो करने को तो आराम से हो सकता है. Infinity बहुत easy है.
TJ, I have to interrupt you now here because I'll get killed otherwise. There are so many guys hounding me on the message chat that they have a question for you. Sorry for that. Lot of guys, you won't believe the amount of questions that I'm getting. So next question goes to Katie. Katie, can you please unmute yourself and ask the question?
Finally. Hi, TJ sir. So,
Hey, hi.
bola ki, you go to Uludeni's and you keep doing like infinity tumble or 1-1-1 task. Like you were there when I was doing deep stalls and helicos, and I used to come saying, "Arey sir, nahi ho raha, kuch nahi ho raha," and you'd be like, "Nahi, nahi." So my question is, I feel like acro physically is there, you build up stamina, but mentally it's also very draining. Very,
Absolutely.
like we don't realize, but at the end of the day, because of the adrenaline, you're like, "Arey, bus, you don't have." So I want to ask, when things are not going right, like you went for 3 years, or jab you have setbacks, like you have that one twisted, and you're like, "Arey, nahi, bus." Like you have that sail jahan par aap thoda miss hota hai. So how do you mentally cope with failure, and how do you keep going at it? Ki nahi, nahi, I have to do it in that short trip, because not everyone can go for like 3 months. Like, so how do
Yeah.
you cope mentally?
Yeah. Yeah, Kanan, very good question actually. Yeah, it's quite challenging actually. You're right there. You said physically is one part, but mentally is more. Actually, I would say you don't get tired physically a lot, but mentally really, really a lot. You do 2 flights in a day, and you really don't want to go for third one, definitely, because it's so much thoughts going, so much mind is working in that. So what I do, Kanan, in this stage, the task I have when I go there, the task is difficult task. I practice that first. So what happens? Your energy is focusing on that maneuver first. I don't. I mean, I learned that in like air by air. I learned that how to manage that, because in beginning I used to get tired within 5-6 days. I'm like drained out. 7 day I don't want to go. I have 15 days waiting, but 7वें दिन khatam, battery khatam. So then I learned to practice only one maneuver, that difficult maneuver. So practice only that, and then give all energy to that maneuver, and then once you feel low, then you can actually take a break and then practice your the beginner maneuvers. You can go there, because actually mind need break. Mind really need that break. uh, I do that. I do 6 days of full strong practice. Then next 2 days I go easy, and then again I go back to stronger maneuvers. So that's how I manage my energy. Like Sajid sir says, even you have seen it. My hand is really going. Of course, it goes because I pull it on wrong timing, right? So when I do rhythmic sat, like pulling and releasing, when you have strong force on your body, that time if you pull, of course it's too much pressure. But like I said, it happens really fast. Then you don't realize that कब खींचना है कब छोड़ना है. जब खींचना है तब छोड़ चुके होते हैं खींच के. तो ये सब होता है. So there you lose your energy. But like I've seen you doing helicos, and when you start doing good helicos, then it's like energy comes back. You must have felt it. Then energy comes back. यार जब भी अभी last year I was practicing infinity, and I really messed it up. So like I was pulling a brake, and I was planning to double brake and next maneuver now, and like I was like cool now. I my focus was little off, and then I pulled it in wrong timing, and I just about to fall in the glider, tuck, I missed it, and big twist. I think more than 15 twists, tuck, 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 and I'm like way high, and now I think I should throw. So I take my both brakes, and I hold my handle, I look down, I look my glider, oh, it's stable there. Okay, then I should wait. So yeah, I think like your question is, yeah, practice little hard, then go back, break it down.
Because what happens
Practice.
is, जब हम वहाँ होते हैं, like we go for minimum, we go for 10-20 days also, and in 10-20 days, if you like, I got helico in 10-20 days, so like I wasn't focusing on anything. kuch nahi, like no sat, nothing, just heli all the way till the down. So I feel like at the end of the day, even when I'm sitting at the dinner table, I am still thinking ki kal aaj ye hua tha na, ye kal nahi kal. Like you can't stop. There's no like switch off. So also setbacks, like we have setbacks, you get twisted. So it's very hard to step out of it. Like it takes you another 5-6 days to step out, and then you have 20 days. So do you have like thick skin? Do you build thick skin over time? Ki arey chhod yaar, reserve hai. Like initially,
Yeah, Kanan. So Rinul have seen me also in that situation. So Rinul used to tell me that TJ, चुप बैठ यार आज तू जाएगा नहीं आज फ्लाइंग के लिए, बैठ जा चुपचाप, आज तू सिर्फ देख. या मैं भी आती हूँ, हम भी बैठते हैं, सब जाके आराम से बैठते हैं, पार्टी करते हैं, कहीं अलग जाते हैं, you know. And actually, like I did my first Infinity, I think in 2017 on my second last day, you know. और उसके बाद मेरे दिन खत्म हो गए. तो एक फ्लाइट थी, उसमें मेरा इन्फिनिटी हो गया, काइंड ऑफ. आई डिडंट शेयर दैट. सो फिर सोच, मेरी 1 साल की पूरी जर्नी वापस थी. इमेजिन दैट आई वाज, हाउ लॉन्ग आई वाज वेटिंग फॉर दैट मोमेंट अगेन. सो मेरा यही है जवाब इस पे कि यू हैव टू होल्ड, यू हैव टू टेल योरसेल्फ रेस्ट, स्ट्रिक्टली रेस्ट, step back, think over it. Of course, don't stop, don't think that अरे आज ट्विस्ट हो गया, ये हो गया, अरे मैं अभी क्या करूं. नहीं, no problem. You just think that जो अच्छा हुआ था उस पे सोचो, चलो आगे, you know.
So like you have taken enough advantage of being the youngest helico pilot, and we all love you very much.
Chalo.
Let's give an opportunity for other guys.
You're not allowed to talk for the next 15 minutes. कब से बात किए जा रहे? चलो, thank you sir, thank you guys.
Thank you, Karan.
All right, the next question is from Sonam Stanzin. He has been the longest raised hand for a long time. Sonam, please go ahead.
Hello, very good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the very relevant session. I have 2 questions, sir, regarding the blackout, and the second one is regarding the switching maneuvers. So the blackout is a very catastrophic situation, sir, which no one never wants to get encounter. So, like, how to prevent getting into blackout, and normally, to what extent a pilot can bear the G-force?
Yeah, your question is over now.
Second one, yes, I'm left with the second one. It's regarding the switching maneuvers. What steps should be taken while switching maneuvers, for instance, from spiral to a wing over, without breaking the glider momentum?
Okay, cool. It's yeah, you do spiral and you switch, you go looping. On if you do spiral on right, you go. I mean, kind of. It's not really looping, but it's kind of like that. How to get on?
Also, we have to do the dynamic. Yeah.
Go ahead, TJ.
I didn't.
Normally, a lay person, sir, a lay person. To what extent a layman, a normal human being can
video? I mean, you
bear the G-force, a pilot?
I mean,
yes, sir.
I don't see you.
Hello, sir. Namaste. Yeah. A normal human being, a sort of normal pilot. So, to what extent he can bear the basic G-force, since there are many stages of G-force?
Yeah, cool. I think everybody is a normal human, man. So, yeah, to practice, again, like I said, it's again, we can start from beginning. Your body will tell you, definitely body will tell you. You need to listen out, you know, you need to feel it out, that you're really going too much. When you start going turns by turns, you know, like more and more and more and deep, a certain time you will feel it is too much. That time you should come out, definitely. You cannot extend more. And like I said, again, you know, you should fix your task yourself. Like I will do 5 turns, you know, 5 rotations. and then you can time out like how many seconds or a minute you will take that to do fast or slow, and then that's how you train your brain, you know, like it's like दिमाग का training है ये. दिमाग को एक बार
Okay, sir.
training हो गया ना, then
Mhm.
there is no limit, you know, then you can just keep going on and on and on and on, like 15 turns, 20
Mhm.
turns, definitely you can go. G-force, yes, जैसे ही heavy होना लग जाता है, हमने बाहर आना चाहिए. जैसे ही
Okay,
हमें
sir.
लग रहा है कि
Does-
अरे I cannot control my head, you should come out.
ओके, और ये चिल्लाने में डज शाउटिंग हेल्प मच? क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा चिल्लाने में थोड़ा सा कुछ एक्स्ट्रा एनर्जी फोर्स अंदर से आता है बीनीथ द ऑर्गन्स आई गेस.
Yeah, yeah, I have heard this from people, of course, but I don't know really, man. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That really
Okay.
that will help. I think it's better to stop before that and practice again
Yeah.
and again and again and again. That definitely will help for sure.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
So, team, we have still a lot of questions, and there's a demand on the chat that maybe we can have another session to fit because we are already past 90 minutes. Can you believe that in our call already? And TJ still haven't covered
I think
a lot of
before
talk about the
going to,
maneuvers
questions,
here. Go ahead, TJ. TJ, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just cover it fast. Some key points.
Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah. So in my opinion, let's talk about, you know, what is important to have, you know, what is where we shouldn't compromise, or sometimes we feel as equipment is very necessary or very important, like going for a acro equipment is, you know, I believe it's not necessary, you know. Acro, you can really start on your normal glider like ENA or ENB. These gliders are more forgivable, and they will really give you time to think, and they can forgive, you know, in situation, and they can really handle it, and you can really progress gradually, nicely, you know, rather getting an acro glider and scaring yourself, because the glider demands a lot, and sometimes like yesterday Clint said, when he threw his rescue, the situation was quite fast, you know, and then you will not able to understand what's gone wrong. And even in my opinion, that when I used to practice on my freestyle, or sometimes, you know, sometimes the situation is, I don't know, I'm twisting on left or right, you know, you don't really understand in that time. So coming back to point that the equipment is, you know, don't think I really need a acro equipment, acro glider. It's not necessary. You can really master 90%. You can master your acro on your ENB glider, and except infinity tumbling or really high G-force maneuvers you can do. In equipment, again, the harness is a big role. Again, you have to have a sitting harness, of course, not powered on different or a hike and fly harnesses. We cannot use that. Of course, they are not meant to take G-forces, but like normal chair, normal harness is definitely, it's okay. You can have that. And in helmet, of course, in acrobatic, mostly people use it open face helmet, so to have a more vision, and yeah, to throw your head all over. So, and of course, little light is better, because when you go G-forces, the helmet becomes really heavy. Sometimes you have a GoPro here, and then GoPro also, it's like it pulls you, you know. So, and the most important is rescue. Your reserve has to be really nice, you know, really good in condition. That is more nice in the sense, I mean, it should be in good position. Yeah. So round parachute also, it's okay, you know, rather going really expensive, you think it's very expensive for you, it's not really important to have really fancy expensive rescue. Important to have a proper good rescue to have, that is more important. Okay, again, in equipment, bridles has to be good quality bridle. Bridles, right, to connect rescue. And also you should have nylons using on the bridles to the harness. So that is, again, it's very important. You have this, it's fine. Okay. So again, about equipment, you shouldn't use really old equipment. Sometimes we get carried away with our own equipment. We've been flying for many years, and we just still use it, same harness, same rescue, and we don't know what straps are really got cut or anything, and we don't really check on that. So I would say do checking your equipment really oftenly, especially acro guys. Very important on your carabiner to carabiner. The strap comes below seat plate. That strap is very important because that strap is taking all G force. So check that, very important. Okay. Also, every flight you should check your reserve pins. Very important again. Reserve handle also. Sometime I have noticed in my SIV reserve handle, they have not pulled it back and stick it back, because the Velcro also sometimes get really locked. Also, there are handles goes in the cover, both sides. That cover also get locked. So you need to check, you need to check pulling your reserve out handle, pulling out and putting back again. So you should practice that also. While flying, of course, you should go through your body to harness and check your handle, and have that subconscious memory to reaching to handle, because in situation sometimes you will not able to catch it, and that really helps the practice, but it's storing memory here. So it really works, it worked for me. I came in situation and I was really coolly gone there, and I stuck, like ready to throw. So yeah, acro, go step by step. Very important. Don't jump on like practicing, let's say practicing SAT and then jumping on some other. It's not good. Better to go step by step. It's very important. I will tell you some do or not do, in short. To do progression your acro, watch videos, watch good videos on that maneuver, particular maneuver, and watch your own videos also. That will help you. Imagine when you're doing some maneuver, you can imagine that, and practice. Practice over ground. Like you're okay. I do SAT like this. I go 360, and then I pull like this. Okay, I'm in SAT now. So do this practice over ground, or as a more on beginner level. If you're practicing wing over, I should, okay, throw my body, I pull brake, glider going there. Okay, now glider don't have energy, glider coming back. Then I will pull glider back again with my body energy. I'll get my glider on left. Okay, overhead is going there. I'll pull more brake to get more that side, So you should practice this. Okay, wing over, okay, body left, brake left, check, hands up, body right, brake right, check, hands up, So yeah, do this practice over ground. That really helps. Take feedback from your friends. Take feedback from your senior pilots. Take feedback from your instructors. That will definitely helps. Practice maneuvers. When you do high risk maneuvers, definitely practice over the water. Don't practice over ground. It's very important, because sometime in wing overs also glider can go wrong, and glider can scare you. So so anything you do, you really do at high altitude, and you should have some imaginary box below you, because thinking at wind direction, of course, and the wind drift, and based on that, you should take your box, imaginary box, because that you're there, you're senior pilot, and you're practicing yourself. And I have seen also boys practicing over the water, but not over the water. You understand what I mean?
They already drifted on the ground.
You're there at Bilaspur, such a beautiful site there, and then you're practicing over the beach or over the ground there. So just go 100 meters inside and then practice there, rather practicing here. And yeah, so it's small keys, but we think we don't think about it. We don't think this. So yeah, little points, but they are very important. We forget in that time. So yeah, again, when you do something, when you're learning something, like I said, you should focus on one task rather focusing on 10 new tasks. You should focus on one, and that will give you gradual growth rather getting stuck there and not moving. Okay, don't hesitate to throw rescue. Don't hesitate, because you want to become an acro pilot, there are more chances to throw rescues. Okay, and you may throw your rescue. So don't hesitate. If the situation is there, don't wait too long. Like Clint was mentioning yesterday, that he was saying that I was waiting too long. Of course, I mean, I was there, I was watching him. I was from down, I was getting good scene, and he was really nicely handling his situation. But then again, like he said, he was waiting too long. Yeah, so don't wait too long, because sometimes what happens, you have thrown rescue, and sometimes it's not packed well, sometimes it's tangled, and sometimes it will take 10 seconds, and in 10 seconds you may hit the water. So if you know that it's situation now, don't wait too long, just throw. I've seen a lot of pilots, they just keep correcting till they hits on ground. Don't do that. There is a parachute is meant to throw, it's meant to get you down safely. So do that. And yes, I mean, now don't do it. I know everybody will know, but yeah, like I said, never practice at low altitude. Very important. When I practice in my home site, no water, there I have 3 stage. Like this is the last final. In worst case, I will never practice in this box. Then there is a middle box here. Anything I will finish in this box, and there is an extra box. The third one. So I will start my exercise here, and then I will try to finish it in the second box. Okay. In some time, if I do some mess or something, I still have some margin, safety margin to finish it. And then I'm finishing in second box, and then third box is still there for emergency. So I do it like that for myself. Okay, so have a practice in a proper box. Never practice when you have low energy, you feel sick or something, and you don't feel motivated. Please don't practice. You can play normal. You can go easy on that time. And because of course this high maneuvers or any acro maneuvers or anything, this need energy. Like Kanan was saying, we get drained out very easily, and it really does it. So yeah, so when you're low energy, do not practice. Okay. Again, I will go on the checklist. Sometime, when we are in pressure, like let's say, like I was in all of the knees, and like I'm focusing, I'm doing infinity tumbling now, and that pressure takes my energy from taxi, from hotel. आज मेरा infinity करने का maneuver है, तो ये tension है, so you have to cool down yourself, you have to tell yourself, because यही चीज आपकी एनर्जी खा जाता है, यही आपकी एनर्जी खत्म कर लेता है. इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग इन द बॉक्स एंड डूइंग एक्सरसाइज, वो तो 2 मिनट का होता है, नॉट इवन 2 मिनट्स. 2 मिनट में एनर्जी इतनी नहीं जाएगी, बट 2 मिनट के पहले जो 1 घंटे का जर्नी होता है ना, तो 1 घंटे का जर्नी आपका पूरा बैटरी ड्रेन आउट कर देता है. तो ये मैनेज करना सीखना है कि don't overthink, think of course, but don't overthink. And then in this situation, what happens then? We do mess while taking off, we do mess while connecting, we do mess coming to the box. छोटा चीजें है, बहुत छोटा डिटेल्स है जिसमें हमारा फिर गलती हो जाता है कि गोप्रो चालू करना भूल जाते हैं, स्पीड बार कनेक्ट करना भूल जाते हैं, फिर हेलमेट लॉक करना भूल जाते हैं, बहुत छोटी छोटी चीजें ऐसे रह जाती है और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है. तो think this very important. The point is manage your stress level very well when you go before takeoff. ठीक है. Of course, drugs, alcohol don't mix with this because acro itself is a big high. मुझे देखिए, मुझे कभी जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, कभी फील नहीं हुआ कि करना चाहिए. तो I think, and it doesn't mix because your brain need more power there, more attention, and I think acrobatic will give you more that. Yeah.
PJ, apologies to interrupt you. We are going way past our time right now, and there's a lot of ask to have a part 2 of this session. So in fact, I was proposing that we can even talk more about some of the maneuvers in detail. We are not going to leave you just in one session there. So how about that? If there's something closing that you want to cover, go ahead and do it.
So you want me to talk some maneuvers?
No. I'm saying that we have really exceeded our time and we still have a lot of people who have questions. So most likely we'll do a part 2 of this session.
Sure.
Okay. So right now we'll close the session at this point, and we'll definitely plan for a second session continuation of this. So is there anything in the closing you want to say to everyone?
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm still a beginner acro pilot. Whatever I have, I've tried to share with you. And yeah, be safe. Thank you.